It is only natural that we will trust in what we know, and so it was extremely difficult for me and many others to realize that the demonic religion we learnt on our mother's lap was not the only true religion, that in fact it was not even decent, with growing mountains of evidence that it was incredibly evil and portrayed the most beautiful person, the Father, as a monster. If you took any even slightly sane person and began to tell them about God, you could lead in with how compassionate he is, far more than even the most beautiful Father. You could explain how he loved each and every person with a passion so great, he would allow himself to be torn apart with a whip, and suffer everybody's punishment for them. That would be a wonderful and coherent faith with which you could turn the world upside down, right way up. But if you then, by the most pernicious sorcery, told even one of these little ones that this same loving Creator harbored a terrifying dark side whose real and actual personality is that he sat in perfect joy and with great effort created a world so that he could burn someone for an hour in an agony no devil has yet matched. But then, in order to describe infinite wickedness, you tell these little ones that believe that it is not an hour he desires to torment but for trillions of years, and it is not one human he is going to torture but almost the entire human race. The only exception being believers, who are neither fearful nor liars. Consider these things, only need not wonder why mental illness is so rampant amongst Christians, why such a high percentage of preachers are addicted to porn and much worse, and why suicide is now one of the leading causes of death amongst young men, including Christians. You could show that no matter how terrible someone's behavior was, that it was a product of Adam and Satan's treachery, and that each and every person was therefore proven not guilty, and that even beyond blaming Satan and Adam, it is God who takes ownership of sin, the creation, Adam, Satan, made subject to sin not willingly but by reason of him who subjected the same in hope. It is also clear that Jesus, who created all things and without whom was nothing made that was made, planned his substitutionary atonement before the beginning, the lamb that was slain before foundation of the earth. Paul was able to hear the things Jesus told his disciples would be too much for them, mainly because of their carnality and evil hearts. You know not what spirit you have. Paul blatantly tells Timothy that the days will come when people will no longer tolerate sound doctrine, and in the same passage defines what sound doctrine is. Paul commands Timothy, and thereby all those who claim to have similar belief. He says these things command and teach, and again, this is worthy of all acceptation. And what is he referring to? Why exactly is he receiving such persecution from the other believers of his day? He clearly tells us in the same passage that it is because he believes that God is the Savior of all men. Not in an esoteric way, and he is certainly not saying that is only a potential Savior. That may sound incredible that there is such a passage as this in the Bible. But if you with a pure heart consider the another gospel, which is now taught instead of Paul's gospel, this universally accepted nonsense now being taught by the wise and prudent, says that God, a being so beautiful as to let the sweetest of religious leaders appear totally evil, sat in ecstatic joy, and worked out a way he could burn the billions of people, 24 hours a day for trillions of years, and then have worked it so that he would still be unmoved by their suffering.